Fire activity across the state has again increased this afternoon, with flames threatening towns and communities. 3 bushfires burning north of Sydney have joined to create what's been dubbed a mega blaze. That fire has now burnt through more than 300,000 hectares and destroyed around 10 homes. Across the state, almost 3,000 firefighters are trying to control dozens of blazes in hot, dry and windy conditions. 10 fires reached emergency warning level today. In the north, residents near a fire burning in the Cataract National Park were warned to seek shelter as flames approached. Locals were also warned about a fire burning near Kempsey, while another 6 fires burned close to Sydney, Newcastle and the Central Coast. Tonight we have reporters standing by for the latest on those emergency warnings. Firstly to Mark Reddie at Lower Portland near the mega blaze. Mark, what areas are of most concern near you?
Well, Gemma, don't be fooled by the peace and quiet. That fire is burning just over the ridge behind me and heading towards homes here at Lower Portland. Properties are also at risk at East Kurrajong, and the concern tonight is those winds will really pick up and start ember attacks and possibly spot fires down here on the Colo River. So tonight, firefighters have boarded boats just at the Rural Fire Service headquarters, and they're heading up the river to attack the blaze from down low, but also from above in water bombers. Armageddon arrived on Mike Erlin's back door this afternoon.
Look at that! Look at the cyclone!
Mike and his 23-year-old son faced off against a wall of flames armed only with a garden hose.
It just kept getting bigger and bigger, and then there's a whole line of it, and it's Mother Nature at her finest, and she's pissed off.
Thanks to firefighters, their family home was saved.
And these guys were amazing. They were great.
As was the home of neighbour Robert Meggs, who moments later was still in shock.
Did your heart skip a few beats?
I don't know. I need time to check it. I'll just go and put the blood pressure monitor on.
The fires north of Sydney continued to burn through the night. Despite cooler conditions, firefighters had no chance to reach the blazes, burning in remote areas. Come morning, 3 of the fires merged into a mega blaze covering more than 300,000 hectares. It's an area that's roughly the same size as Sydney. When the two are side by side, it's easy to see just how big the fireground is. From the air, the massive fire front stretched into the distance, flames leaping through the trees in the Wallamai National Park.
We've got a significant number of fires which are joining together and will continue likely to join together over the coming days and weeks, given the access, the terrain and the volatility of fire behaviour and how quickly these fires are spreading.
In Colo Heights, Andrew Kendall didn't mind losing his shed as firefighters fought hard to save his home.
Something I never want to see again, really. So pretty scary, pretty hot, pretty intense.
Annette and her 76-year-old husband are RFS volunteers, but yesterday thought their number was up.
It came up as a great big wall of fire, and here is us standing here fighting it with our hoses, and it was very scary.
As the mega blaze continues to burn deep in bushland, access is proving near impossible, but firefighters are at the ready to defend homes at Colo and Lower Portland. The heat from this fire is intense and the smoke is incredibly thick. There are now fears that these trees could fall and block the only road in and out of Colo Heights, preventing some residents from being able to leave their homes. Tonight, some residents are being told it's already too late to leave. Exhausted firefighters are defending properties while the weather conditions remain unpredictable. Mark Reddie, ABC News.
Kathleen Calderwood is at the RFS Command Centre at Mangrove Mountain. Kathleen, 2 fires near you have also emerged this afternoon. What difficulties is that causing?
That's right, Gemma. The Wrights Creek and 3 Mile fires have now joined and are burning together. Now, the Wrights Creek fire is still at an emergency level, and we saw those absolutely terrifying scenes this afternoon where a spot fire from that fire took hold in the area of Kiola Road at Kulnura, and we saw that fire there crowning through the treetops, and the firefighters really had their work cut out for them protecting properties. Now, we've heard that there are no reports of any homes lost. However, there have been some outbuildings lost, and there were some concerns for the welfare of 7 farm workers on a property at the end of Kyola Road. They've now been accounted for, thankfully, but unfortunately their farm accommodation building was destroyed by the fire.
And how are things looking tonight?
Well, the firefighters here have now redirected their efforts to the George Downs Drive at Coolnura for that Wrights Creek fire. We're starting to feel the effects of the deteriorating weather. The southwesterly is coming through, and that's what's causing some of those issues with spot fires and reports of embers down in Coolnura. And the people in that community have been told that it's too late to leave. Now, here at Mangrove Mountain, the 3 Mile fire is at Watch and Act, and unfortunately for people on Waratah Road, it's the second night in a row that they'll be up worrying about fires. Last night they were kept up with fires all along that road. We're hearing that the fire activity there is now starting to build up also, so they've got firefighters down there keeping an eye on that, but very concerned how that might play out tonight.
Kathleen, thank you. And to the southwest of Sydney, a fire burning at Lake Burragarang has spent much of the day at emergency level. Reporter Selby Stewart is at Oakdale. Selby, has there been any property losses in that fire today?
Gemma, there's been no confirmed reports of any homes being lost in this fire, but we do know that at least 1 outhouse was destroyed on the blaze's northeastern flank down near Warrombi. And driving around the fire ground today, we've seen lots of fences that have been damaged or destroyed and water tanks that have melted to the ground. So the biggest issue today really has been spot fires. There's been a swirling wind that sent embers in all directions, and as I'm speaking to you now, just behind the camera, I can actually see the blaze has broken through again and is heading back towards Oakdale. It was previously moving towards Natai, but these swirling winds are making this a very tricky fire to battle. So for these residents, it's an uncertain night ahead after what's already been a day of constant danger. It's a glowing trail of destruction that's pushed out of the bush into Sydney's southwest. All day, RFS crews have battled the powerful flames, as fast-moving as they are fierce. Spot fires threatened homes in Oakdale, where locals and RFS crews joined forces.
Fire brigade come, they've done a great job, got the foam all over the house, the sheds, they saved everything there for us. Then the fire sort of went through, an hour later, come back again. So they've been back again.
Further east, others weren't so lucky, with reports several outbuildings were lost. The emergency has prompted many residents to flee.
I feel like it's a lot drier and the bush will go up really quickly, so I don't think we'll have much of a chance.
Others chose to stay and prepare their family farms for the worst.
But we knew once the wind came up, we just had to do what we had to do. But before we did it, we prayed, because without God, we can't do nothing. I'm burnt, I've got my hands burnt, climbing through the fences, but God's been good.
I've got sprinklers all over the roof at the moment, so that's about all I can do.
The ferocity of last night's firestorm captured on a mobile phone by firefighters as they managed to run to safety. A moment of bravery in the face of nature's fury. More courage will be called upon this evening as conditions worsen and Western Sydney braces for another night of unpredictable bushfires. Selby Stewart, ABC News, Natai.
Special assessment teams are still counting the cost of the early start to the bushfire season. So far, we know bushfires have destroyed more than 680 homes. Almost 250 homes have been damaged, together with over 2,000 outbuildings. Incredibly, firefighters have also saved or protected almost 5,000 homes across the state. On the south coast, residents have praised the efforts of fire crews who saved homes in the town of Bawley Point. But with the blaze still burning, communities are bracing for the possibility of it flaring again if conditions deteriorate.
This is what confronted residents of Bawley Point when the fire front hit. Firefighters were the last line of defence as giant flames came thundering towards homes. The aftermath reveals just how much of a close call it was for people who live here.
Felt like 50-metre walls of flames coming at you, and we sat as long as we could until it was just time to get out.
Although some sheds were lost, firefighters somehow managed to save homes.
They were down the back there, pretty much in the thick of it, just making sure it didn't catch through the houses. And the work they did, I put hats off to them because it's amazing.
They basically came through and just wet everything around here, so obviously it sort of skipped around us, which is quite amazing.
John Morgan didn't hold out much hope of his place being spared.
I called my wife and said, looks like we've lost the house. And when I came back, I was pleased to see it's just a hole in the fence, really, and obviously the mess that comes with it, but yeah, very relieved.
On the southern flank of the fire, the coastal town of South Durres came under Ember attack. Many residents stayed to defend their homes.
Once everyone heard that there was a spot over down the lake, boom, everyone down the lake. Like, you could have put the fire out with people's feet.
People from nearby towns who have been without power for more than 24 hours have been walking or riding motorbikes along the beach to South Durres to stock up on basic supplies.
It's been a marathon effort. Since the fire season began, firefighters have saved or protected over 4,000 homes. Claire Wheaton, ABC News, South Durres.
A team of Canadian firefighters have joined the battle to help relieve weary local volunteers. The fire management specialists flew into Sydney before being briefed on our ongoing drought and fire conditions. The Canadians sacrificing a white Christmas with their families to lend their expertise.
To give up their time to come down here to Australia, here to New South Wales to lend a hand in our time of need is pretty special.
The Canadians joined strike forces from New Zealand and hundreds of interstate volunteers already in the field. And Graham's here now. Are the winds going to help firefighters over the weekend?
Well, there is a southeasterly change. It's currently moving through parts of Sydney at the moment. Now, what it is actually going to do is increase the humidity, but it's actually going to take a while for it to push a little bit further inland. It's probably not until Saturday and Sunday that we start to see that humidity increasing closer to the ranges. Unfortunately, it's not going to be long-lasting, though. Once we move through the weekend, we start to see that heat from Queensland drawn down into the north of New South Wales. And then by Monday, that northwest to westerly wind flow once again kicks in. We will see a vigorous sea breeze along the coast, but it's those northwesterlies that are going to push temperatures well above average again as we move into Tuesday.